Next, I would like to move to Dr. Kaushalya now. Mr. Rajendran brought out some interesting points about President's statement about closing down some of the schools and clubbing some of the schools because of the poor resources. And the report evidently brings the argument how the poor revenue performance has, to an extent, caused the poor expenditure on healthcare and education. Could you shed some light on, because I'm not sure actually the government's policy is also this merging schools is also part of sort of the school administrative reforms rather than the curriculum reforms. If we were to spend more money on education, where do you recommend to, I mean, invest more so you are in the system? And also, what is your take on what Mr. Rajendran mentioned? Is it this school administrative approach? Is it workable, or I would like to know your thoughts on that front as well.
Thank you, Dharanath. Yeah, that should be okay. Actually, Mr. Rajendran very eloquently, I thought, showed us the disparities that we have, right? And of course, in the Human Rights Watch report on tax, and I really liked the way that there are lots of narratives that show us, in addition to the numbers, the really felt difficulties, right? And I think if I were to say that this government should spend on X, Y, and Z, I would only ask for three things. I wouldn't ask for the number of kinds of reforms that are supposed to be coming up. I would say, first of all, higher salaries. And I do commend the current government on one thing, which is that the raise to in the salary, but not for the allowances, which is what we are used to. Across the education sectors, we are both secondary and primary, secondary and tertiary education, we are used to every government saying, here is your raise, but it's in the form of an allowance. So I think that shift to increasing the basic salary, which means that the raise is an integral part of the salary, I think was a really significant shift. And that's important. But at the same time, in one of the recent notices for recruitment, a teacher is placed first, a graduate teacher is first placed on about 39,000 for the basic salary. That's peanuts, right? Some people go out and spend that on their dinner in this country. So I think for me, the biggest issue, so if you take a teacher of about 30, and Mr. Rajendran can probably say this better, my general understanding is that a teacher of about 30 years experience gets a salary of a little over 1 lakh per month. That's, yes, the government has increased salaries, it's not yet enough, because we want good teachers, we want more teachers. So there would be one thing. The second thing I would really like a shift in is policies on teacher recruitment and deployment. Right now, we recruit teachers through the National College of Education, where people who have passed A-levels, and there's a selection test, etc., go there. They have to be below 25, they have to be unmarried, they cannot get married throughout that time, I don't know why. And then they come out in 3 years with a diploma and they enter the teaching service. We also have the provincial councils recruiting teachers, graduate teachers. They have to be permanent residents of the province. And here you can really see a problem, because if they have to be permanent residents in a province, and we know that each province has different demographics, different opportunities for people, and where you live, people try to decide based on various things that they can gain. So if, for example, the provincial council has to source teachers from, say, the western province versus the north central province, there'll be a big difference. And so that's another way in which the National Commission on Education has already some time ago proposed a teacher regulating service or a commission like for the medical sector, and I think that's a good idea. We can try and see how that can be done, and I don't think only for the public service. I would say we need a regulatory commission for the entire teaching service of the country. International schools, private schools, public schools, because there needs to be some kind of regulation on who gets to teach, etc. Third, training. We really need teacher training. Right now, graduate teachers aren't properly trained when they go into schools. The NCOE teachers are trained, but that's a small number. We don't have in-service training. We don't have sabbaticals for teachers. For if you're burnt out, you're burnt out. You just continue till you retire, right? So we have, for me, those are the three most important things. And yes, they need money. And therefore, that's why for me the report is really important, because it shows me a way to, in a way, the tax reform has to go hand in hand, but to be done in such a way that the lower levels of the professionals like teachers are not paying as much as maybe the wealthier people do, right? So I think for those three things. The other reforms that the government is trying to do, I hesitate to say much because I have only seen an evolving set of slides. I haven't seen a proper policy document. But from whatever I have heard and what I have seen of those, I would say that I didn't see in the last appropriation act or the budget the amount of money that would be needed to even do the basic reforms that they're trying to think about. For example, things like smaller classrooms, things like student-based assessments, like activity-based assessments, etc., which primarily all our teachers need to be trained in, so which hasn't even started from what I understand. So I don't understand how we can actually have a set of reforms just purely in terms of assessment and smaller classrooms, at least another year or two, and where is the money for that? So I really hope that the upcoming budget will show that kind of investment, because in the projected amounts for 2026, 2027 in the last budget, I didn't see much of a change. I mean, there is a progression, but not at the scale at which we need money and resources to effect this kind of thing. I also think we need to think about tax in terms of international schools, private universities. Are international schools taxed? I don't know. I have no idea. And that may be my ignorance. Maybe there is a study out there that I haven't read. What are they as legal entities? Because some of them are charities, some of them are companies. How should we tax private but educational institutions? What are the regulations? So those are, I think, important. What about the tuition industry, which was a very big lobby in terms of politics? How are they being taxed? So I think also those are questions to ask at the same time as we think of these supposed reforms.
Thank you, Dr.